Here we go. Welcome to episode 116 of WhysAdvice. Instagram, welcome. Facebook, welcome. Glad you guys are here tonight. Looks like we'll see who chimes in first. Carrie's first over on Instagram, always cool. Denise over on Facebook, very cool. Karen, hello. Sarah, howdy. Susan's checking in from Hawaii. Very, very nice. Tallahassee, yeah, that sounds like it might be a fun place to be right now, Katie. Be smart, be safe out in Tallahassee. Lee checking in. Carrie's checking in. Good evening to you. Elise from Wheaton, always. Nicole, good evening to you. Amanda's here. Very cool. Treva, hey, very cool. Good to see you. Ann, good evening to you. Ann and I had a great time last night. Ann and I just, real quick, Ann's crazy. Ann drove all the way down to go to a meeting, and so we sat through the meeting, and then we went to dinner and just kind of sat for, I don't know, it was like 3 or 4 hours just sitting there chatting. And then she drove 3-4 hours home. So crazy Ann is. But it was fun. Had a great time. Howdy from Texas. Jennifer, hope you're doing well. Let's see, who else did I miss here? Let's see, Jamie's here. Good evening. Yeah, Crystal, I get it. I wouldn't be tuning in tonight either. Irma's got some work on your hands, so you're gonna be okay. It'll all work out. It always does. But be prepared and take care of yourself. Lisa, Wake Forest, North Carolina. Good evening to you. Long Island, Karen's here. Good evening. Yvette, hello. Heidi from Fort Wayne. Oh, hi from Fort Wayne. Karen, good evening to you. Let's see. Mom's checking in. Brian's here. BK in the house. Carrie from Portland, Oregon, I presume, not Portland, Maine. Nitha's watching over on Instagram. Very cool. Just so you know, I wasn't really smart today, and my iPhone may die somewhere in the middle of this. So if the iPhone dies, we'll lose the Instagram feed. Where I was at 36% when I started. So we'll see how that works out. Pat, good evening. Jeff is here. Good evening, sir. How are you? Kathy, happy? Yeah, it's Wednesday already. I like having Mondays off. That makes it a lot easier. Yeah, so let's see. Katie is stocked up on water and Weight Watcher approved food. Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit, Katie. You know, your game plan may shift in the next couple days for sure. Hola, Chris is checking in over on Instagram. Very nice. J.U. Juzrex, how do you pronounce that? Watching with a smoky view near Portland. Yeah, it's all kinds of crazy stuff going on everywhere, isn't there? Nitha's leaving there. Nitha's going to join us over on Facebook in just a second. Sarah's checking in back on the podcast way back to episode 20. You know, I should do that too. I think I need to do the same thing. Sorry, I need to go back and listen to them from the beginning just for fun. I bet you they're way different, you know. So Angie's checking in. Let's see, Colorado. Charlene's here. Columbia, Missouri. Holly, good evening. Northern California's in the house. Red Sox beat the Blue Jays 6-1. It's a text alert I get, so it's the public service announcement you get. Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Ann's checking in. Yeah, watching the weather. Weather is way out. Yep, I agree. Lindsay, so thank you. Lindsay says I make her commute so awesome. That's very fun. New Orleans checking in. Richard, good evening to you. Brian, isn't that fun? To Brian, let's just start there. Brian says coworker said to him, hey, it looks like you have lost weight. Isn't that fun? That's the coolest part when other people start noticing. But it's also the dangerous part, because when other people start noticing, then you start looking for it a little more, and you need that validation. And that validation doesn't come once you get to goal in lifetime. So it's a different validation. But we'll get that one down just for fun. Here, so let's see. We already got you in the book, Brian. I don't know if we do or not. So I got Brian says coworkers are noticing. Look at that. So good work, Brian. Very, very cool. All right, so let's do a microphone check. We'll get that done. As I get the mic check going, write in what your non-scale victories are. I will come back after the mic check and we'll roll through. I'll write a couple more in the book because it's kind of fun. Yeah, so Lori, that's a great one too. Great job. Lori went to Chick-fil-A, ordered grilled nuggets because she only had 2 points left. You can do it. Rockland from Savannah. Lee in his water in Santa Rosa, California. Jane from New Hampshire. Man, all kinds of fun stuff. All right. Brian's 0.2 from 5%. Well, you're in the book twice, Brian. You know, that's good. Susan, very nice. Let's see. All right, so let's do a mic check, and then so go ahead and let me know what your non-skill victories are. We'll do a mic check, and we'll get rolling. I need a mic. It's hard to do a microphone check if you don't bring the microphone over. Makes it a little more difficult. Testing 1, 2, test. Let's see. Sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty good. Audio there, that's good. That's muted. All right, what'd you come up with? Yeah, that's a good one. Mic check. Check 1, 2. I can't read. What I'm writing down right now, it says Diane started running today. Always walked before. Isn't that cool? When you do something for the very first time again, that's pretty impressive. Let's see what we got over on Instagram. Just Rex. It's just Rex. Is that how you pronounce it? Just Rex, like that? 13 days of blue dots. So is that a record? It's pretty impressive. Recent non-scale victory was 2 days ago when you walked into a bakery. You grabbed all sorts of creamy sweets at the cash register. I said, sorry, I forgot my credit card. I apologized and I walked away. Did you really do that? Is that the so the willpower said I don't want the sweets, and then you said, to obviously save face, it's, oh, I forgot my wallet, versus, hey, I don't want to eat all this stuff that I brought to the register. But that's pretty impressive. So what's your first name? Let's get that written in the book, because I don't want to write WWYUN delicious, unless you want me to write that. You tell me what you want me to write in the book, and I'll put your first name in the book. Unless you just want to remain anonymous, which is completely fine too. So just Rex, we got that. Let's see. Becky, starting over tomorrow. Becky, you're going to start over right now, right? All right, got it. So Yudi stopped at the bakery. With a lot of treats. I'm going to put forgot credit card in parentheses or in quotes and walked out. That's how you win right there. How fun is that? All right, let's try that. Let's see. Angie, great job. Ran 2 miles. It took me 36 minutes, but that's a start. That's exactly a start. Robin, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Jennifer, 12,000 steps a day. Very, very cool. Nitha, I love that one too. Nitha says she saw a reflection of herself. and you actually thought you looked great instead of analyzing yourself. That's awesome too. That's very, very fun. Brian, yes I do. Brian's asking if I ever talked with Patty from episode 90. I do. Her connect name is I Love God and Dogs and God is her connect username. Longest tracking streak ever of 10 days. Woohoo! What does my... Oh, it's a True Religion. It's a brand. It's just a sweatshirt because it's got cold over here. All right. Let's see. Here we go. Let's get this one here, and then we're going to roll into the show. You guys know which one I'm writing down? I'm writing down Jane's because it's pretty impressive. Give me 1 second. All right, Jane, you're in the book. So Jane says, Sunday you had your first date in over 32 years, and your confidence in part came from your why and feeling great because of it. Now, I agree with that. That is pretty impressive. 32 years, finally said, you know what? I feel good. I look good. It's time to share that with the world. So, very cool. All right, let's roll into episode 116. I know you're all waiting. I'm waiting. Get this part done first. Cheers. Just a little bit. So again, shout out to those of you on Instagram. My phone is already buzzing saying it's low battery, so let me try this. Let me see if I plug it in. Hopefully you don't lose the audio. Where's the other end? Alright, Instagram. We're going to keep Instagram rolling. Hopefully the audio still works. Instagram audio still sound good? If you got audio, Instagram, someone say yes, we're good. And then we'll roll. All right, cool. Episode 116, here it goes. I am your host, FatDag, and you're listening to WhysAdvice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at FatDag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at WhysAdvice. Send in your comments, your questions, and your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, here we are, episode 116 of WhysAdvice, and I'll open the show with something that just really, every once in a while, a couple things happen that just continue to remind me on this journey that we're on the right path. And yesterday was one of those days. We didn't do a show last night. For those of you who are here, if you're listening to the podcast, I know I say I do the show daily, except for the days that I don't is kind of the line that I use. And last night was one of those days that just didn't get done. So Tuesdays generally are the hardest night in for my week. I do, I work all day. I come back from work. I go to my Weight Watchers meeting. I lead my meeting in Indianapolis. By the time I get home most Tuesday nights, it's around 8:30, close to 9 o'clock. That's on a normal night. So then to come right in, if I didn't have a show prepared ahead of time, it's very difficult to come in, say hi to the family, check in, roll into a show, and still make it to bed in time to be at work on Wednesday. So Tuesday generally is my hardest night. Last night it was very easy though. Last night what happened was, so I go to the meeting. I kind of got a heads up ahead of time that someone was going to kind of visit the meeting from out of town. So I knew she was going to be there. So Ann pops in at the meeting. She popped in, said hi. She sat through the meeting. We went through a normal meeting, a regular meeting, just like we always do. And at the end of the meeting, I sat through the new folks and welcomed them in. And then and Ann said, I just want to say hi, and I just want to say, thank you for what you do. And I said, just like I did with Lenny when Lenny was in town, I said, hey, let's go grab a bite to eat. And so we did. And so, I don't know, it felt like we sat there and talked for 4 years. It's what it felt like in a sense, meaning it was just so natural and so fun and so sharing. And what it really told me was that this journey, even though, and you're going to hear some things tonight that are going to be kind of, or in this show, you're going to hear some things that it kind of may or may not relate, but everybody at some point can understand that this journey is very powerful for the folks who are walking the journey together. As I've told you before, I've had an amazing support system to help me, process through this and to get through it. But that support system doesn't understand the true mindset that we know to be there. And so last night was just a fun meeting where Ann and I just got to sit there and just chat about things that only folks who are walking this journey can understand. And so that is the kind of the power of this community working together, showing each other what's possible, that makes us all want to get it done. So Ann, shout out to you. Thanks I can't believe you drove down 3 hours and then sat through a meeting and then turned around and drove right back 3 hours. That's absolutely crazy. I don't recommend you ever do that again, but I was completely honored and I really enjoyed our time together. So thank you for that. First up is Sharyn. Sharyn writes in and says, out of Staten Island, New York, hi Mike, I've always been overweight. I've been on Weight Watchers many times before with success, and then I've fallen off again, and I gained it all back, plus more. I rejoined August 20th, 2016 with 155 pounds to lose. I didn't rejoin knowing that this time was any different than before, but I hoped that it might be. As I approach my 1-year anniversary, I have lost 110 pounds, and I know that this time is different. I know that I'll reach my goal this time and that I will not go back. I'm a meal prepper and I'm not a weekly point eater. I like to know that they're there, but I tend to find trouble when I utilize them. My biggest struggle is the scale. I'm a very logical person. So effort, staying within the points, weighing, measuring, and exercising should equal losses, and it doesn't always. After a year, I should realize and understand this, but clearly I don't, and this week, after 50 weeks, I decided that if my very good week will not equal a loss, the loss that should have put me in Wonderland, by the way, then I will give the scale a reason not to give me a loss, to the tune of being negative 98 weekly points on the second day of my week. For the first time in a year on the program, I totally lost control. This scares me. It scares me on so many levels. I thought I had this under control. I believed there was no stopping me this time. But what if I'm wrong? Thank you for your service to our country and for all you do for the Weight Watcher community. Sincerely, Sharyn, again out of Staten Island, New York. Well, Sharyn, you're not wrong. Let's start with that. And let me go back up to the beginning. So, you're on this journey. You've been on it many times before. That's a similar story that a lot of us know. And the reason that happens is because we know the program works, and as the program works, we find that success, and the success feels so good that we think that we can kind of manage it on our own. In one of my online forums today, I was chatting with someone, and Elise, as a matter of fact, and she said something to the effect of, we all want to lose weight, but we don't want to change any of our behavior. We want to do exactly what we're doing and then still have the weight come off. And that, as we all know, that's not how this program works. So when you join and regain and join and regain and quit going, it's because you're fighting that mindset. You're fighting the part that where, do I really change me? Am I really going to make a significant change, or am I going to go back into my old habits? That's what is scaring you right now. It's scary to completely change your habits to the point where in some cases you don't even recognize yourself. If you could film me at a restaurant today versus 2.5 years ago, at the same restaurant, you would see the difference. You would see a physical difference in what I'm drinking and what I'm ordering and what I'm eating. Most of the time, you would notice and you'd say, okay, that is how you're maintaining it. So the program works. You have confidence. You're clearly doing well. You can't lose 110 pounds on accident. You've been so dedicated to yourself. You've been so focused on your goal that you've gotten it done. You now are at the point where you really need to tap into, why are you doing this? You've been very successful many times in the past. You've been very successful this time focusing on your how. You're focusing on the tools that you need to get it done. Now is the time. Now is the time in the middle of your journey where you're at to sit down and go, wait a minute, what is it that I want out of this program? What is it that I want for me for the rest of my life? And you work that program and you balance everything from this point forward as to what does success look like to you. And so rather than being scared of the fact that you may slip up, be excited about what the possibility brings to you. You can do this. And so what I want you to do is, I don't want you to sit there and go, what if I'm wrong? And what if I can't do this? Because that self-doubt, when you start questioning yourself, it starts lingering in a little deeper and deeper, and you almost work very hard to prove yourself right. I want you to prove yourself successfully right. And Sharyn, you can do that. So clearly a 98-point day, 2 days into the week, is not going to be a way to work the plan long term, but it's not the end of the world. You can have a negative 98-point day on occasion and still persevere, still pick yourself up, still reset, and move forward. I'm somewhat confident in your 110-pound loss, you had days that weren't exactly perfect. This is just one more of those. You continue on with the big picture, and you will get to goal. That's where I want you to focus. I want you to focus on the excitement. I want you to focus on all the new possibilities. I want you to focus on what amazing feeling you're going to feel when you get to goal. Let that carry you forward. Sharyn, thank you so much for your email. Monica writes in and says, wow, thank you so much for your email, FatDag. I went on to update my profile and my preferences, and when I first signed up to the 5 a.m. club, I was at a 5% point in my journey. I've since surpassed the 10% point and my 25-pound goal. I've got a ways to go, but with your daily podcast and my weekly meetings, I know I will make it this time. It's my 5th go-around with Weight Watchers. You see, I made Lifetime back in 1984, but then a lifetime happened, as the saying goes. I was thin pretty much my whole life, up until the comfort of marriage settled in. I joined Weight Watchers back in early 1984, and a few months later made Goal and Lifetime. Then a few years later, my husband and I experienced fertility issues, and the various medications I was on seemed to help me with packing on the pounds. Fortunately, with my 2 pregnancies, I only gained 19 pounds, a boy and a girl twins, 10 weeks premature, and 17 pounds with a boy, respectively. Having 3 babies under 18 months old was definitely my first priority, and I pushed myself aside, as every parent does. However, even down the road, the weight never seemed to come off, and through the years I added to it. Eventually, reaching my highest weight of 246 pounds in 2008. I rejoined Weight Watchers again at that point, losing 43 pounds before the complacency bug set in. I gained back the weight, and I yo-yoed over the past few years trying Metafast, Jenny Craig, and some pink drink called Plexus Slim. When I reached 236 pounds this past spring, I knew what I needed to do. So in April of this year, I rejoined Weight Watchers, and as of today, I'm down 28 pounds with about 60 more to go. And yes, that was not by accident. I must say, too, that I've been the most supportive husband. I have the most supportive husband in the world. We married in 1983, both only 22 years old, and we celebrated our 34th anniversary this April. Some days are harder than others, of course, and having a 25-year-old son with cerebral palsy who is in a wheelchair bound and battles weight issues because the CP hasn't affected his ability to eat. It just adds to the daily stress of trying to take care of me. I'm home with him all day. I am his primary caretaker, as my husband and I felt that was the best for him. I've got to tell you, under those circumstances, I am so proud of myself for not being in the pantry all day, finding some sort of comfort. Most days, that's not an easy thing to do, but I keep my eye on the prize. I do a modified Weight Watcher program for my son, since none of the Weight Watcher facilities around us have a wheelchair scale, and we, of course, don't have one in our home. We do try once in a while to take him to our local hospital to get weighed, just to have an idea of his progress. I pretty much keep him on track with my program, and we can see a change in him. He, too, listens to your podcast every morning with me at breakfast, and I'll often catch him listening throughout the day on his iPad. Next to his computer, he even kept the personal note that you wrote when you sent the magnet. That note is a source of inspiration for him, and I truly appreciate it. Thank you, FatDag. Thank you for all that you do for me, my son, and the thousands of us who tune in daily. Thank you for your service to our beautiful country, and please thank your wife and your daughter for sharing you with us. Take care of you, Monica. Monica, welcome to an amazing place in life where you get it, you're focused, you've understood now the priority in your life revolves around you, and your ability to take care of you means that you can take care of the rest of your family. So, we know the program works. As your fifth go around with Weight Watchers, I'm sure the other 4 or 5 times that you were doing it, you found success. The success that you found is what brought you back here after you tried all the other options that were out there. And I'm a firm believer that they all work. You can find any one of those programs. You can find people who've been successful on them because they're tuned into why they're doing it, and that why is so motivating for them, it makes them to get done whatever they need to get done. Like you, though, I believe the Weight Watcher plan currently is phenomenal. And so that is the how that fuels my why to keep me going, and it's clearly what you're using now to be down 28 pounds. It doesn't happen by accident. You're smart to recognize that. The 28 pounds that you've lost, is you've done that deliberately while battling and fighting for all the things that you have going on. What a blessing you are right now to your son. The fact that you and your husband decided what was best for him was for you to stay home and be the caretaker is an amazing opportunity for you. It's an amazing blessing for you. And I'm clearly, I know it takes a toll on you as well. And in the sense where, you're not raiding the pantry all day. And when you said that you were so proud of yourself, when I read that, I felt that. I felt the pride as you actually physically wrote those words down. And I wonder, as you were writing it, if that wasn't your first draft. I wonder if your first draft was something different and you went back and added that in, because I know sometimes for us it's hard to say that we're choosing us and we're proud of ourselves for doing it. Congratulations on your 34-year anniversary. That is amazing. So all this combined tells me a couple things. You clearly have the mindset, the ability, you have the tools to do whatever it is you want to do. 34 years of marriage is not easy. Rejoining Weight Watchers for the 5th time is not easy. Being down 28 pounds is not easy. Taking care of your family and your son is not easy. You're doing your best, and your best is clearly working. And let's talk about that for a second. When I ask you to do your best is every morning you wake up and you figure out what circumstances you're under. And in those circumstances, you just try and do the best that you can in that moment. You set yourself up for success. You know, the foods that you have available in your pantry, clearly they're better for you than some of the other alternatives that are out there. And so if you set yourself up for success and what you have available, when you go time to eat, if you only have the healthy alternatives, it's really easy at that point to stay on plan. Now, I'm completely honored that you and your son both tune in the morning and listen to the podcast. That really kind of gives me goosebumps to think of it as that, you know, that family time you're choosing to spend listening to the podcast and bettering yourselves. You're doing a fantastic job working the program for both of you. I would ask you just maybe let's not focus so much on, I know you said once in a while you take him to the hospital to check on his progress, which I think is great. I think the fact that you can see the change and you can feel the change is probably more powerful. So I wouldn't focus so much on the number in that scenario. I would focus on doing all the right things that you're doing. Spending that quality time together and just being in the family, being in the moment, and getting it done. Your entire family is set up for success, and it all revolves around your ability to stay focused on the plan, taking care of you, getting done what you need to have done so that you are there to take care of them. So Monica, it's an honor to walk this journey with you. I'm incredibly proud of you. You're doing fantastic work, and keep it up and let us know when you get to goal. Very cool. Theresa writes in and says, well, this is lengthy, but I have a lot to be thankful for. Hello, FatDag. First of all, I want to congratulate you and celebrate with you on your 100th plus or minus episodes. In honor of the occasion, I could write 100 whys, and WhysAdvice has helped me to break out of a huge complacency slump and get back to goal. I'll limit it to a few, but before I dive in, what you said at the end of episode 97 still rings in my ears. You didn't ask for money. You didn't ask for magnet purchases. No, you asked for an email. Since it's an email from your listeners that keeps the show coming, episode after episode. I have never written in, but in honor of your 100th episode, I want to acknowledge your gift to all of us in the weight loss community by doing my part with this email. You also mentioned something that I find so true. You said the podcast enables those who are just starting to hear about the successes and the struggles of those who are working the program, which that gives them hope, and they also can do this. It provides role models and trailblazers for those coming along. Every single episode, someone's email resonates with me, and I am helped in my own journey. Thank you for providing this resource. I have so much to be thankful to for WhysAdvice, and for that, I thought I would write in. My story. I was 44, 5'4", and I was 253 pounds and without hope of ever losing weight. That was in 2002. I joined Weight Watchers again. I've lost count how many times I've joined. I began to use the online community board. Even back then, I started reading the Lifetime and the maintenance boards in an effort to find successful people to pattern my journey after. I was so depressed, but I really didn't show it except that my weight was creeping up, a huge clue that something wasn't right. A divorce, a remarriage later, it was when my husband and I joined together on Valentine's Day 2011 as a gift to each other that I had hope of making it. You see, my husband admires General Patton. Apparently there's a quote from General Patton that says, "He won't pay for the same ground twice." My husband was motivated to get this weight loss done quickly and only once. With his vision and my cooking, I had hope. We had each lost some weight on our own, but we stalled, and we were thankful for the Weight Watchers structure. We each hit Lifetime in 2012, and we were cruising along nicely. New to running, we couldn't get enough. 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, trail runs. We felt like we had a new lease on life. Little did we know what was in store. We had been doing well with things were relatively smooth in life. Now comes the test of how we would work in this storm. In 2013, my husband had a heart attack, which he survived thanks to the benefits of Weight Watchers. Late that year, we lost his son to suicide. In 2014, another death of a close family member. Then in March of 2015, my son also took his life. 2 young men lost to suicide was beyond comprehension. In fact, even breathing was nearly impossible. God and Weight Watchers have been anchors throughout this season of loss. Due to the grief, I first lost weight, but then I began to gain. I gained up to 12 pounds over my goal. I was unable to find my way back to goal. I was growing resentful of all the great success reported on Connect, even though I knew that was the wrong attitude. I kept coming back, though. I knew a breakthrough would come, but when? It was through Connect that I joined a book club there, reading The Beck Diet Solution with the hashtag The Beckies, and Stenya, at Stenya, S-T-E-N-Y-A, to help me get my thinking and my behaviors on track. Then along came WhysAdvice. I love the wisdom you share in response to the comments made within the emails. I won't list 100, but here are a few that I say to myself every day. Hope is not a plan. Indeed, it's not. How simple, yet profound. Complacency, calling it what it is. I needed to hear that. When you're out of points, stop eating points. This has helped me maintain my blue dot since late June, and thanks to this, I am back to goal and free. The rule of thirds. This has helped me abandon a whole day's. This has helped me not abandon a whole day based on knowing exactly how many points I ate already earlier in the day. I can actually start over with every meal. Next one, losing weight and gaining weight have nothing to do with luck. I've stopped saying good luck on Connect. I wish people good focus. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. Well, this one jump-started me back into the game. It hit me like a brick that success won't come to me. I have to actively do behaviors that move me toward it. I picture a knotted rope that I'm pulling up from the water. I have to grab on, pull, and repeat. That's how the Weight Watcher behaviors pull me closer to my goal. Focus on your why. Dig deep and find the real why. My why transcends occasions, clothing sizes, etc. I want to be in control of myself. It is so that the self-loathing goes away and I can love myself. I want to be proud of myself and 100% confident of me when I am with people. I would always think, I want my husband to be proud of his wife. But now I say, I want me to be proud of who I am. Everything else flows from that. I want to live without shame. I can't thank you enough for all that you have done for me. Without knowing me, you have benefited me and my family. Lastly, I commented on Facebook about how your Chick-fil-A thinking out loud actually helped me. You said you'd share your Jimmy John story if I reminded you. I look forward to hearing it when you can fit it in. Congratulations on your excellent PT test. I'm going to train with you and your buddy to take the fit test in October. Just for fun and to have something different to train for, mix it up a bit. Getting fit with FatDag. Thanks for reading and celebrating with me. I am back to goal at long last, and I'm here to stay with you as my wingman. Thank you. Sincerely, Theresa. Theresa, what an amazing story of triumph. Faced with defeat, faced with many opportunities where you very easily could have just completely given up, you chose not to. You chose to honor you. You chose to honor yourself. You chose to be proud of yourself, and you got it done. And so I'm incredibly proud of you. So we talk about, episode 97, and, when you said in the beginning that, this show relies completely on your email. I was talking to, even Ann and I were talking last night when we were at dinner, and I said, the show, if the email box dries up, there's nothing to talk about. I don't have any show prep in that regard. I simply want you to write in, tell me what's going on in your world. I'll tell you what I think and tell you what I do. But what happens is every single person hears something differently than the way I say it. Because as I say some things, your brain goes a million miles an hour, and you fill in the details and you parallel those details to your own journey, and you hear what you already know, and you hear it in such a way that you understand it. And it almost doesn't matter what I say as long as I just give you some framework to do that thinking. That's the power of what your email is doing right now. Is somewhere else right now, somebody is going through something so similar, and they want to give up. And they just heard that giving up doesn't work, and they heard that if you remain strong, if you remain powerful, if you dig deep, even with all the adversity you're facing, you can succeed. There is light on the other end. Now, sure, it doesn't erase all the tragedy you've gone through, but you're gonna get to the point where you can now persevere, and you can win, and you can move forward, and you did that. So, as folks write in and we share this, there's really only three things that I really want. I want you to share your story, because when you share your story, just like you did, when you share your story, you get some therapeutic benefit out of it by just opening up and finally putting on paper what your thoughts and your feelings are. And at that point, other people join in and they go, oh, I get it. And other people say, yeah, if you can do it, we can do it. And then other people want to join you at Lifetime because they see that you can win through all this. And the third thing that happens is as you continue to share, you're now giving back to a community that so desperately needs strong people like you showing the world that you can do this. Our community needs that more than anything. Our community needs to understand that there will be times throughout this journey where things just aren't perfect. They're far from it. But if we say that and we recognize that and we push forward anyways, and when we get to that point where we've made goal, it kind of validates everything in that battle. It wasn't a struggle. It was a learning process, and you owned it. And that lifetime feeling is so amazing. General Patton is very wise, and I don't want to give up the same ground twice. I don't want to pay twice for it. It doesn't directly translate to weight loss. The weight loss journey has an ebb and a flow to it. It's just how it's a natural process in this journey. So, I admire your husband's tenacity. I admire his strength. My heart goes out to him. But this journey is slightly different than the great General Patton would say. And so you've got to take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's when you don't do that, you keep going, marching forward in the right direction, that you're going to have the success. So the fact that, back then you started seeking out lifetime members, you started seeking out all the things that you needed to be successful, that is, it's amazing for you, is how you were able to kind of reframe your mind, and you wanted to see what the future looked like, and that's again what your email is doing for somebody else. 2013, 2014, 2015, incredibly tough years for you. My heart breaks for you, for your husband, for your entire family. I can't even imagine going through that. So I'm confident, like you said in your email, I'm confident that the fact that your husband was in such great shape when his heart attack happened, I'm confident that great shape is what enabled him to survive that. Obviously I have no medical experience to speak to that, but I'm certain that had to be a deciding factor as well. So that is the benefit for why you're continuing to push forward. So thank you for that. Now, when you said everything flows from you being in control, everything flows from your tools that you've used, you want to live without shame, you want to be proud of who you are, you can do that. If you're listening right now and you're thinking that exact same thing, you do not have to reach lifetime to do that. You can be proud of you now for making the effort to make the change. You can start now by living without that shame and say, you know what, I am doing something about this. And that power will get you in. So absolutely, Theresa, thank you for your email. Congratulations, you're an amazing fighter. With the willpower and the mindset that you have, I'm confident you can do anything in life that you want to get done. Now, you asked about my Jimmy John story. I'll share that. Totally unrelated to your email, but here's kind of my Jimmy John. It's kind of the Jimmy John's hack that I use. Is so, and I'm going to kind of do the numbers from my head. So if you're validating them online and I'm off by 1 or 2, do your own math. But I take a standard sub, and I ask them to scoop the bread out. I'm not going to go without the bread. I like the bread. So I order a Jimmy John sub. In my case, I get the Slim 2 because I like the roast beef. I have them scoop the bread out. I then have them cut the sandwich in half. I then open the sandwich. I move the meat from one half to the other. I end up having a 3-point sub with the bread scooped out with essentially double the meat. It ends up being about 7 points. But it gives me a food that I really enjoy having, and there's enough protein in that keeps me full for the entire day. It's those kinds of things that enable me to have I still have the foods that I like, that I enjoy, but I can have them on my terms and do that. So that's kind of a fun story there. Last up, Stephanie writes in and says, "Hi, FatDag. It's Stephanie from Rhode Island. First and foremost, thank you for your service to our military. For what you and so many other militaries do is so important and at times underappreciated, so thanks for that. I've been with Weight Watchers since March 29th, 2017, and I've hit my 5% goal, and I'm getting closer to my 10%. It's tools like your podcast, Connect, and a Facebook page called No Finish Line Nation that help me along my journey. When I feel stressed or overwhelmed or feeling like I can't do this, I go to one or all of my tools. So thank you so much for your support, Stephanie." Stephanie, congratulations on your 5%. Congratulations on finding a tool belt full of tools that you can use to get your job done. A couple things I want to make a note for you is 5%. If you hit 5%, that's the first point in this journey where we've set a goal and we've hit it and we've persevered and we've gotten to a point where we've proven to ourselves that we actually know how this program works. From 5%, it's just duplicating that effort and you get to 10%. If you get to 10%, you can hit goal. So first and foremost, let's prove to you right now, let's tell you, Stephanie, that you can hit your goal no matter what. You've found a tool belt. You've found a whole bunch of tools that are working for you currently. The one tool you didn't mention that I want to stress to you very heavily is you've got to dig into your why. Because what happens when you develop all these amazing tools is at some point tools become kind of just part of the journey, and they get a little boring. You've heard some people on the shows previously, the exercising is boring and this group is boring. And so what happens is sometimes these tools, you get so used to using them that they quit working to some extent. And at that point we start digging for another tool. And then when that tool gets bored, we find another tool. At some point you keep bouncing around these toolbox, and if you're doing it that way, you're focused so much on the tools, you're really kind of focused on what it is you're doing. I want you to take a step back. I want you to rewrite that letter to yourself. I want you to sit down and say, why am I doing this? What does success look like? When I'm done with this journey and I'm starting to live at a healthy weight for the rest of my life, what does that feel like? Why did I walk in that room? Why did I join Weight Watchers for the very first time? Whatever drove you to that, if you write it down and you focus on that, then all these other tools will just certainly become second nature, and you have the ability that you've already proven to reach your goal. So Stephanie, thank you for your email. It's a complete honor to walk this journey with you. It's also my honor to serve our nation and all the other military members who do that. Thank you for that shout out. We're honored to do that. I speak for many of them when I say that. So thank you for that. Well, folks, that's going to do it for this time. Let's talk about your email. Thank you for celebrating with me tonight. Thank you for your amazing emails. as I said in the show, is what keeps this show going is you writing in. Send your email into onair@fatdag.com. Send in your comments, your celebrations. You can go to fatdag.com, click on Listen Now, send in your celebrations, your comments, and your questions. That's what keeps the show going. That's what tells somebody else who's a brand new listener today. Every day the show gets roughly, I don't know, a handful of 10,000 downloads a day or something crazy like that. But it's those numbers are growing because every day someone's finding it. And what they need to hear is that you can get this done. And they need to hear that they can do it. And they need to see your success. They need to know that along the way they're going to struggle. They need to know that that struggle can be overcome. And that there is light on the other side. And our community is so powerful and so full of these amazing stories that as we share them, it gives people that sense of, aha, if they can do it, I can do it. So I thank you for your email. I thank you for writing it. I thank you for being a part of the show. I thank the listeners out there who are providing the Patreon support to continue to assist. And so that link is out there as well if you want to check that out. Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus. Wow. Wasn't that something? Very, very fun. So good, sometimes I get a little speechless. I can't imagine the pride that someone has, as they go through things in life that are just completely devastating. And at that point, to be able to pick up your life and completely rebuild it is tremendously amazing, right? It's so awesome. And what's really cool about that is, let me just see one here. I want to get back to that. Is what's really cool about that is when Theresa writes in and says, think about this. In 1 year, a 3-year span, her husband had a heart attack. She lost his son, her son, and another close family member, all within 3 years. And so I can't even imagine going through that, right? And so she did, and then decided to continue fighting anyway. So think about one of the things. One of my favorite books we talk about all the time is The Noticer, right? And so Andy talks about in that book something along the lines of, if you could write down everything that's going on in your life, good, bad, or indifferent, and you want to write your problems down and get rid of them. So in this case, Theresa would write in 13, 14, and 15. She'd write all that stuff down and she'd throw it into a pile, right, and say, I'm done with this. And but the rule is you've got to dig back into that pile and you've got to grab something to take with you because you can't leave there without anything. Well, you would start digging to that pile and you would start opening up these things and you would say, oh, I can't do this. Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. And you would start digging for your own issues because you know how to work with them and you know how to navigate those waters. And so that's what we're doing, is we're giving someone else that ability to go, okay, yes, I've got a lot on my plate, but I know how to manage that and I have support and I can get it done and move forward with that. So that's what this entire show is about, is providing you and everyone that opportunity to understand that no matter what you got going on in your life, there is a way on the other side where you can continue forward. So very, very cool. So thank you all for being here. What have you guys got for me? It looks like you guys are very active in Florida Irma tracking, which is all going to be, it's going to be crazy. I think a lot of people are already evacuating, which is good. For those who are evacuating now, great job. But I can imagine, to be prepared, that's the best you can do. So Yeah, so Denise, I agree with you. Everyone, so we have fires up in the Northwest, and we have Florida and Texas, and yeah, if you guys make it to Indiana, come on in. Susan, thank you for your note. It says you want to support and show not finding the best route to donate. Susan, thank you for that. The best way is if you go to FatDag.com, click on Listen Now. There's a tab, the very last tab says Listen Now. You click there, and then from there, there's a straight up donate through PayPal, but then there's a Patreon. It's a yellow or orange button that says Become a Patron. If you click on that, then you can make a monthly contribution. And what I do every once in a while, I kind of, you can get live text, you can get text alerts, some other things I kind of do for that community as well. So you explore both. But really the best thing you can do, I mean, that's all cool, and I truly appreciate that. The best thing I really appreciate is the engagement. That's the number one thing. So if you don't want to contribute, you can't contribute, that's totally cool. What I would ask is send an email in and let's continue growing the show, because that is what I'm looking for more than anything, because that's what keeps the show going and keeps it growing. So thank you for that. So Jan's asking, what episode do you talk about drinking diet soda? I don't know, Jan, if I do have a diet soda specific episode. My soda story is I went from 12 sodas a day to 0 overnight. It was New Year's Eve 2 years ago now. 2 years ago on New Year's Eve, I bought a 6-pack of Coke, and I drank them in the last 20-30 minutes as the ball was dropping. And so I had my last one at the stroke of midnight, and I put it down, and that's the last drop of soda I've had in 2.5 years. It was that important for me just to be done with it, and I'm pretty much exclusively water now. So I'll have an unsweet tea on occasion. Every once in a while I'll have a lemonade, without all the sugar, a natural lemonade. Other than that, it's water, and then I use for caffeine, I use a drink called Spark that I mix into my water. But I don't know that diet soda is any better for us, and I've never done any research, so don't take this as any, if you want to, there's plenty of research out there. You don't need me to research it for you. But I just switched to water, and I'm happy with it. So over on Instagram, Shelly says, great emails. I agree with you, Shelly. So isn't that the fun thing about this community, is that the stories we have together are just so powerful. So very, very fun. Let's see what else is going on. Terry's out. Yep. So Sue, are you asking how to find the magnet, Susan? Probably the best way to find that's not on the website. It's on Facebook. So if you go to Facebook, scroll through a couple posts. It used to be pinned to the top, but it's not anymore. If you scroll down a little bit, you may find them. If not, I will shoot me a Facebook message, but it's kind of easy to find. I just don't know the link off the top of my head. So Brian, I saw so Megan's doing a Facebook Live. That's pretty fun. Jan, you are addicted to diet soda. Trust me, I went from 12 a day to 0. You can do this. Really. That's what I can tell you. I went from soda for breakfast, soda on my nightstand at bed, to 0. So you can do it. Those of you on Instagram, we got 1:43 left, and then Instagram's going to time out on us. So we'll continue on Facebook for a little bit, and then we'll be done. So Brian, I didn't know Megan hit lifetime. Did I miss that? I think I did. So very, very cool. You know what, Laura? It's funny. I meant to say that because I saw a couple posts today. Laura says, "Good show," and I hope to send an email soon. You can send more than one. There's no rule on that. So I like hearing them in the middle of your journey, because people need to know what the middle of the journey looks like too. Because a lot of us don't ever make it to the end because we give up in that middle. So if you're, and I'm going to say this, I need to make a note to say this during the show, actual podcast tomorrow, is I want you to write in the middle of your journey so that we can share the middle of the journey, so that part gets told too. So because the middle's not always fun, rainbows and unicorns, right? The middle has some ups and downs. And so, yes, it's nice to see that we can make it through, but sometimes it's nice to walk through that middle so we know what that looks like. So, Instagram folks, 35 seconds. Good night. Thank you for being here. Carrie, good night. Let's see. Yeah, so Susan, so hopefully you'll find it, but if not, if you're good with the computer, so it's a bit.ly link, if you're familiar with that, bit.ly/capital F, capital D, capital M, AG. But I'll put it, I'll shoot me a Facebook message and I'll put it out there. So. Yeah, Brian, sometimes my brain goes a million miles an hour. That's funny. Yeah, let's see. Karen, thank you for that. Ellen says, saw in the mall a Marilyn Monroe Blanc pen, bright red. Looks so cool, Mike. What is it? A pen, a bright red Marilyn Monroe pen? Mont Blanc makes some very nice pens. It's my favorite pen. There's a JFK pen that I look at. It's all red, white, and blue, patriotic. You know, right there, patriotic. So yeah, so there's a JFK pen that I've had my eye on, but it's kind of hard to justify that kind of money for a pen. Let's see. There you go, Laura. So yeah, you can send several. You can send more than one. Yeah, Brian and Megan were on episode 99 and 100, which is a very cool. If you haven't listened to 99 and 100, that's just a cool transition. How those two things just happen naturally. So ever since then, Brian and I have been friends for life, right, Brian? Friends for life. Shake your head, yes, Brian. Very fun. Thank you, Susan. Appreciate that. So, Nikki, I agree with you. The middle is the most important right now. Yeah. Yep. So, Nikki, that's exactly what I'm saying. So, somewhere in the middle, we need to know that even though we need to know that you can get out of it, we kind of need to know how to navigate the middle of it, right? So, that's what Nikki's saying, and I completely agree with you, Nikki. So, and if you guys are on this tomorrow, someone needs to remind me that during the podcast, I need to mention that, send in an email now. Don't wait till you hit lifetime and goal, because people need to hear about the struggles and the journeys now so we can walk through them. So yeah, I agree. Patty, good evening to you. Linda, so you feel great, you look great, can't seem to convince the scale that there has been any progress. Don't worry about the scale, right? We care about this much, but if you're eating healthy and you're working out and you're getting some sort of exercise in and you're eating right, the scale will catch up to you. So track and work on those blue dots and work on making those healthy choices, and you'll get there. So very cool. Ellen's asking, what do I think of Crystal Light for water? I don't know, never had it. Let me back up. I have had it. I haven't had it in a long time. I just drink regular water, or I mix in the energy drink into a bottle of water. But I'm sure it's fine. It's 0 calories, right? So it gives it taste. That's good, So yeah, I guess what I like to do is I like to drink water, straight water, because I can go anywhere and get water. And you hear a lot of people say that they don't like the taste of water. So I need to get to the point where I actually really like water. So no matter where I go, I'm not tempted to grab a Coke because I actually like the taste of water. So the example I would use is if you use the Crystal Light drink, which is fine, but if you use that and that's the only way you get your water in, and then you go somewhere, Disney World for the day, you get to Disney World and there's no Crystal Light drinks, well, and you don't like water, then you go back to soda because that's the only other real option. So if you train yourself to actually like water, when you get to Disney World for the day, you just grab water, because you like the taste of it. So the more you try and hide the taste of water, you need to make sure that as long as you have that, 2 or 3 cases of Crystal Light in your purse everywhere you go, then you'll be okay. But what happens when you run out? And so for me, I can go anywhere and get a water and be okay with it. So, Donna, down 42 pounds, now knee injury. Any help to get you through this? You can't exercise much right now. Good news, Donna, you don't need exercise to do this. So the 42 pounds you lost most of that because you ate properly. So if you continue to eat properly, your knee will heal itself at some point and you'll be fine in that regard. But you have to focus on eating properly first. That is the number one way to lose weight. So you're in great shape there. This journey happens from the ears up. All of this weight loss happens above your mouth. It's not what you eat. It's not what you exercise. It's what you're thinking about. So, yeah, so Lee completely confirms that. Thank you, Lee, for being here. Always appreciate that. And then Denise, yep. So there are pool exercises, some other stuff you can do, but we know we just don't really need it. So Jeannie, I would love to hear some of that too, right? Because that's unfamiliar territory for me. I would suspect, obviously, if you're, so she's asking, she would like to hear how diabetics battle through weight loss. So completely, what I would say is go to Connect and do a search for hashtag diabetic and scroll through some of those posts because I know those are out there. I've seen them before. That would be a good place to start. But I would suspect that this plan probably lends, working in conjunction with your doc, probably lands pretty well because we want you to avoid a lot of the sugary foods anyways. So I would suspect that it would be, would be a recommended plan. But again, I have no experience in that area, so it would be interesting to go reading some hashtags for sure. Hello, Danielle. Good evening to you. Oh, this is going to be Sharyn. Let's write that down. Oh, Sharyn, let's do this. I was going to write it down, but let's have you come back tomorrow and tell me that you're off your insulin because you're saying hopefully you're off your insulin. But let's find out if you really are. And if you really get off your insulin, come in tomorrow and tell me, and we'll write it in the book. So let's get a couple written down, and then Lori, thank you for that. So Ellen says, "What's in the middle for each of us is so different." It is, and it is, and it isn't. Right? You've been doing this for a long time, and now you seem like you're at a new beginning again and very focused. That'll work. I like it. But the middles are all differently similar. So Nikki, have you? I don't know. Have you followed before, Nikki? So I'll show you a good example. Let's see. So Nikki, for today, I have 6,384 steps. That's it, and that's a high step for me. An average day for me is between 4,000 and 5,000 steps a day. That's it. Even the days that I run, I'm 6,000 or 7,000 steps at the most. I don't know the last time I got a 10,000 step day. Actually, let me back up. I do know it was a couple weeks ago I ran 10 miles, but that's a different scenario. But on a day-to-day, I'm 4,000 to 5,000 steps average. So yeah, you don't need. And I think for those who are getting 20,000, 30,000 steps a day, that's great. But the thing they need to understand when they do that is if something happens and an injury comes along. You need to have a game plan because if you're getting 70,000 steps a day and you're overeating still, and that 70,000 steps is masking that overeating behavior, as soon as you sprain an ankle, you haven't ever controlled the eating part of the program. So therefore, now your exercise goes to zero, your eating stays the same, and that's where we start running into trouble. So exercise is fantastic, but it's not the weight loss magic pill that we think it is. Alicia, your dad says Rally's has the best water. Okay, I have not been to Rally's in forever. So Patty says the best thing for vegetable or to eat with a broken bone was vegetables because they help your broken bone. Interesting. Cucumber sliced in your water. Yep. Brian, good work. I like to see that. Brian says he's cutting back on his Crystal Light. So he's cutting back on Crystal Light and increasing straight up water. Perfect. I love my water super duper cold. Let's see. Linda's type 2. So you guys should be, hopefully you guys connect. Hopefully you guys scroll through each other's posts and see that, and you guys connect and figure out the journey together a little bit. So Jill says the diabetic diet is actually very good. Google National Diabetes Society. Very cool. Let's see. There's all kinds of diabetics. So that's a popular topic. So someone, let's go. Let's get it in here. Here we go. For those of you on Facebook Live tonight, if you're type 2, which there's 3 or 4 of you are, send me a couple paragraphs, and all of you, I'll do the tomorrow night show all on that. And then that'll prompt some conversation, and we'll go forward. So that's your tasker for those of you who are on Facebook Live right now, is send in your journey about your diabetic journey. And didn't you hear, there was a couple episodes ago, someone was completely reversed their type 2 diagnosis. Did you guys hear that? I'll have to dig through the show notes to look for that one, but there was someone that reversed their type 2. Did I even write it down? I think I did. Let me see. Yeah, Donna. Just look at that. Look. I wrote it down. Donna is off diabetes medication, 8/24/17. How cool is that, right? So, how cool is it to know that you can actually reverse some of this stuff? So, very cool. Let's see. So Lucy, your mom is diabetic, lives with you, and she eats what you eat, and her last blood work was great news. That's awesome. Isn't that fun? Isn't that so fun? All kinds of good. All right, there's going to be some. Tomorrow night's show is going to be awesome. Yeah, I think Nikki. It's funny. Every once in a while I'll ask, and so thank you for following along. But every once in a while I'll ask people, say, "What do you think my step count is?" And and those of you who know, you guess 4,000 to 5,000. And a lot of people say, "Oh, it must be like 12 or 14,000." I'm like, no. Other than the days that I go for a long run, I don't break 10,000. It's extremely rare for me to break 10,000. So, yeah. So Lee and I are in the same boat, right around 6,000. Linda down 14 with 20 to go. That's amazing work. Kim is 7,000. So yeah, we're all in the same boat. Let's see. Elaine, good evening to you. Yeah, for sure. Be careful with, obviously Irma is battling down on Florida, so take care of you first. Yeah, Lori, good job. Way to take a picture. Pictures tell 1,000 stories, 1,000 words, right? So very fun. Yeah, Jan, so that'll be fun. I can't wait till tomorrow's show. It's going to be fun. Hopefully you send them in early so I can do a little bit of research ahead of time. We'll see if I have a chance. Very cool. Very, very, very fun. Yeah, and if Anne's still here, I don't know if Anne showed me some amazing numbers last night from her blood work, which is just absolutely amazing. So, yeah, so Jill confirms that. There you go. All right, let's see. Is she waiting for me to hang up and then she's gonna go live? Is that what's going on? That's funny. So Gail, good job there. So Gail went from A1C. Let's get that one down because that's another cool, fun one. I'll use that for tomorrow too. Gail Meisner. A1C went from 6.3 to 5.7. Doctor says no longer pre-diabetic. That's pretty fun. Look at that, Gail. Went from 6.3 to 5.7, no longer pre-diabetic. Congratulations. That's what this is all about. That's what we're doing, changing our lives. Fun stuff. So, all right. So Nikki, you can do that, but sometimes it's, my inbox is a mess over here. I got it sorted pretty well, but you can reply to that, and then I'll see if I can pair them together. I'll sort by name. So, Ellen, what do you want to eat during a hurricane? Whatever you have access to. Right? Be smart about it. Be mindful as best you can. But, man, I don't want you in the middle of a hurricane going, I can't eat because we don't have the right bread. Survival at some point takes priority. It really does. That's okay, Gail. You can be in the book again. Where did I already have? Let's see. For the same thing, Gail, did I already write that down? Yep, I did right there. Right, look at that. So I can't remember all of it. I just know what's cool. So, Denise. Look at that. So there's all kinds of. So okay, all of you. Really, I want all of you to write in with your numbers, and I'll condense them for tomorrow night's show. That's good stuff. So, all right. So cool. Let's wrap this up. Let's get it going. So Brian's got to go watch his daughter do live. I'm gonna go get the show published. We're gonna go to bed. We got Irma battling down. Lots going on. But thank you for being here. This is what keeps the show going. It's your engagement and your wanting to be here, and you're getting it done. So continue to do all the amazing things that you're doing. Thank you for being here. But more importantly, the things you need to know is that this journey has nothing to do with luck. It's all about your focus and your dedication. You can completely change your life. The last part of this show, the amazing numbers I just saw, and there's a handful of you that have completely taken control of your life. How cool is that? So, thank you for being here. Have a great Wednesday night. If you're in path of this monster, be good, be careful, be smart. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you tomorrow night. I'll get a show out for you tomorrow night. I wish you all the best of focus. Have a good night.